Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cutting through all that noise. Completely dismantling those get-rich-quick fantasies that constantly clutter our feeds. Instead, we're focusing purely on pragmatic, actionable wealth building. This is an entrepreneur's guide to growth, and we're specifically looking at how you can successfully rebuild your financial foundation from absolute zero. Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to mentally place yourself in a highly dramatic scenario for a second. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and you've literally lost everything. You check your bank app, and there is exactly $27 left to your name. No savings to fall back on, you don't have a wealthy family to bail you out, and there are absolutely zero investors waiting in the wings to fund your next big idea, right? All you actually possess is your smartphone, an internet connection, and a relentless determination to change your life. So it begs a really critical question, one that kind of tests your core understanding of entrepreneurship. What business would you start? I mean, if you were standing at absolute rock bottom today, looking up at the mountain ahead, what is your very first strategic move to secure your financial future? See, our immediate instinct is usually wrong here. We tend to gravitate towards what I call fantasy businesses. These are things like drop shipping, which actually, scratch that. It's more like throwing thousands of dollars into an advertising black hole, just testing products to find a winner. Or trying to open a traditional brick-and-mortar restaurant with, massive overhead. But if we're talking about real, sustainable growth in 2026, we have to pivot to realistic businesses. I'm talking about models you can launch with almost no money, relying entirely on your skills and your sheer grit to solve problems. So, category number 1, high-leverage B2B services. A prime example of this kind of high-leverage growth is starting an AI automation agency. This is where you build a super lean, efficient operation that exists purely to serve other overwhelmed businesses. Listen, across the globe, thousands of businesses are absolutely drowning in repetitive work. They're answering basic customer emails, manually scheduling appointments, generating standard invoices, trying to run social media. But here's the massive gap in the market. Most business owners simply do not know how to use AI effectively yet. And the crazy part? You don't even need to be some elite software developer to fix this. You literally just learn how to use tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and basic automation platforms. Because if you can step into a business and save that owner just 10 hours every single month, you are generating massive, tangible value. And the reason this specific model works so beautifully for rebuilding from zero is the complete lack of overhead. You have zero physical inventory to store. You don't need to sign a lease for an office space. You don't have to hire a whole team of employees. It is purely a skill and results-based business. And because you're solving a massive, expensive pain point for a company, those clients will gladly pay you hundreds or even thousands of dollars because you are delivering concrete results. Another brilliant high-leverage B2B service is appointment setting and lead generation. Look, every business on the planet needs customers to survive, right? But ironically, a ton of business owners absolutely hate the process of finding them. By taking on that burden, using simple LinkedIn outreach, cold emails, and maybe some basic CRM dashboards to connect them with qualified customers and book their meetings, you become entirely indispensable. You can earn a really healthy commission per lead or even secure a recurring monthly retainer. You don't need advanced technical skills for this. You're simply connecting the dots, solving their biggest headache, and creating immediate cash flow for yourself. Moving on to number 2, the power of local services. Now, most people completely ignore local services because, let's be honest, they aren't exactly glamorous. Starting a pressure washing business isn't going to land you on the cover of a tech magazine. But look at these everyday problems: pressure washing driveways, window cleaning, lawn care, mobile car detailing, junk removal. People always need these services, literally always. And the barrier to entry is incredibly low. You can start a lot of these ventures today with basic equipment you might already have sitting in your garage or that you can easily rent from a hardware store. You're solving everyday, highly visible problems right in your community. I really want to emphasize this point because it gets overlooked. Simple businesses often produce surprisingly high income. Instead of constantly chasing the next viral online trend or banking on becoming some overnight internet sensation, focusing your energy on everyday local problems is a proven, rock-solid growth trajectory. It's grounded, the demand is constant, and best of all, the cash flow is immediate. All right, category number 3, building scalable digital assets. Once you have some established cash flow, or hey, maybe you just strongly prefer a strictly digital route, Content creation becomes a phenomenal tool to eventually separate your time from your money. And this brilliantly illustrates how low the barrier is. The investment is primarily just your time and a smartphone. No expensive camera gear required to start. But the return? Well, every piece of content you make becomes a 24/7 digital asset. Whether you're teaching a skill, reviewing products, sharing business ideas, or simply documenting your own journey, these assets work for you around the clock. They generate revenue through AdSense and sponsorships for years after you initially hit upload. Now, it does require immense patience, but remember, consistency heavily outweighs perfection in this space. Alternatively, you can build digital assets by leveraging high-demand freelance skills. Businesses everywhere are constantly hunting for talented graphic designers, video editors, copywriters, marketers, website developers, translators, you name it. And the absolute best part? The freelance market does not care about your college degree. Seriously, no one asks. Clients care exclusively about your results. The strategy here is to master just one valuable skill, build a small, really tight portfolio, and offer competitive pricing on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. As you gather those glowing positive reviews, increasing your rates becomes so much easier. In fact, many freelancers eventually scale that solo gig into a full-fledged agency. Then we have what I consider the holy grail of digital scalability: digital products. The underlying premise here is intoxicatingly simple. You create something once and you sell it thousands of times. Because you are packaging your knowledge into a digital format, there are absolutely no shipping costs, no warehouses, no physical inventory to manage or trip over. Your knowledge literally becomes the product, and that results in incredible, near 100% profit margins. To make this super concrete and actionable, here are some very specific examples of highly scalable digital products: budget spreadsheets, professional resume templates, custom Notion planners, short, value-packed ebooks, curated AI prompts, printable graphic designs. See, all of these solve specific, immediate problems for buyers. You build the template once, you throw it up on a digital storefront, and automated systems handle the entire delivery process while you sleep. Bringing us to number 4, the ultimate growth strategy. Okay, so we've covered the what, but now we really need to talk about the how. And to understand the winning strategy, we first have to highlight the absolute biggest mistake beginners make. It is, without a doubt, shiny object syndrome. It's switching businesses every single month. One month, they're totally all in on dropshipping. The next month, it's too hard, so they abandon it to day trade crypto. Then they pivot to an Amazon storefront, and when that gets complicated, they try starting a YouTube channel. Jumping between trendy side hustles like that completely destroys your momentum, and it pretty much guarantees you will never build real compounding value. So, the crucial point is this definitive zero-to-scale blueprint. It is elegantly simple, yet incredibly difficult for most people to actually follow. Ready? Step 1. Choose just one business model. Step 2. Commit to it fully for 12 months. Step 3. Improve your execution every single week. That is how actual wealth is built. Not by chasing flashy trends, but through deliberate, focused, relentless iteration. 12. A strict 12-month commitment. You have to put your blinders on and literally ignore everything else on the internet. Wealth isn't built just by being the smartest person in the room. It is built through unyielding focus and absolute consistency. You simply have to give your business the time it needs to grow and compound. As this insight perfectly reminds us, success usually comes from sticking with one opportunity long enough to become valuable. Listen, none of the businesses we've outlined in this explainer are magic. None of them are going to make you rich overnight. But every single one of them has created millionaires over and over again, simply because they solve real, tangible problems for other people. The question isn't whether these businesses work. We know for a fact they do. The real question is whether you are willing to stay consistent long enough to make them work for you. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up our analysis today. If you woke up tomorrow with absolutely nothing, which of these businesses would you start today?